It's time now for another tasty tidbit from Philadelphia's hostess with the mostest. Here comes Chef Jacquie.
Ciao and welcome to Cooking with Chef Jacquie. Today I'm coming to you from my kitchen, my home kitchen. Very relaxed atmosphere here, and I love to make family dishes in my kitchen. Today I'm going to make a dish from my father's hometown, but before we do that, first thing you do in a kitchen is wash your hands. Walk on over with me, and while you're washing your hands, make sure it's hot water and that you're using soap, and you can have a little scrubby brush. That works wonders, gets all those little germs that are hiding underneath your fingernails. Okay, and now we can cook. I'm making risotto today. Like I said, this is from my father's side of the family. It's a northern Italian dish, and it has a few ingredients. This is not a recipe that has lots of ingredients. It's a few ingredients. The whole thing is the process when you're making risotto. This is not something that you want to start and then go and take a call from Aunt Sadie. You must stay with the risotto once you start cooking this, because it can get burned, it can stick, and you will not have that creamy risotto texture that we're looking for, that chefs look for. So here are the ingredients. Number one, you must have arborio rice or a short grain fat rice because it has a lot of starch in it, and it just makes a creamier rice. Second thing you need is Parmigiano Reggiano. This happens to be from a neighbor of Bologna where I grew up. This comes from a town not too far from there, and it is a specific type of cheese. Parmigiano Reggiano are usually aged anywhere from 12 to 36 months, some older than that. Me, the older, the better. I love it. It's a nutty smelling cheese, and my father's side of the family puts it on everything from breakfast to dinner. So you name it, it's on there. That's a key component. Another thing is saffron. Saffron is the most expensive spice in the world. And today, I'm really lucky to say that my buddies over at Grazia's Italian Market Spice Company provided me with a whole container of saffron. This is like gold. It's the most expensive spice because these are crocus stamens. And somebody has to go in there and pick those little stamens out by hand. So that's what makes it so expensive. And it gives it sort of a little bit of a bitter flavor. It smells like hay, if I were to compare it to anything. And it gives that beautiful yellow look that you see when you look at risotto or paella. It's the same thing. Another thing that I wanted to talk about today were salts, because we do put a little pinch in the risotto. You don't need much, but you do put a little pinch in the risotto. And I am a salt fanatic. I love salts. I have a little grinder that I use for my salt. I usually keep my salts in here. This is really good for the Himalayan, like the rock salts, which is right here. They are pink, as you can see them. And this is from the sea, so they're sea salts. This is another chef's favorites, sea salt flakes, because they dissolve almost immediately. And then there's kosher salt. I use kosher salt more than anything else. Why so many salts? Well, salts are all for different things. A kosher salt like this you can use and consider an all-purpose salt. This you would use when you're cooking. This is great for salting pasta water and all that good stuff. These kinds of salts where they're sea salts, you don't want to waste all this money to put it in a pot of water for it to just dissipate and go away. These salts are great for raw foods, tomato salads, things of that nature, things that you're not going to cook. What I like to do with my Maldon salt, the flakes, after I'm done cooking a piece of meat, I'll put a little bit of olive oil or butter on my cutting board, and I'll put a few of those seasoned flakes and then cut my meat right on top of that, so it gives you a little bit of that flavor, and it's seasoned perfectly. Last thing we need for our risotto are onions, thinly sliced onions. And all you want to do is just go down like that. Simple. We're going to do them as thin as possible, and we are going to saute these for the risotto. So come on over to my stove. I have, oh, yes, it is hot. There we go. And butter. You want to use salted butter too for this dish. Excuse me. All right. So we put about 2 to 3 tablespoons of butter in this. And when I said you really don't want to walk away from this, seriously, from this moment on, you do not want to walk away. Anybody that's ever cooked with butter knows how quickly butter can burn. And the whole recipe is like that. You don't want your rice to burn. You don't want anything to burn. Tender, loving care goes into this dish. There's that word again, love. Got to put love in your food. Once the butter is melted, I'm going to add my onions. And this can saute up. You want your onions nice and translucent. And this is where you would put a pinch of salt. Did you see that? A pinch of salt. Not a ton, a pinch. The whole point to food is layering. And you want to season every component that you layer. So you want to season your onions. When your rice goes in, you want to season that a little bit. So when your dish comes together at the end, it doesn't taste insipid or that it's lacking salt. You want it to be flavorful. And that's our little trick. That's what chefs do. Oh, if you could only smell what I'm making right now. It is so good. So, so good. The smell of onions. In our house, that always meant risotto's on. And this is the rice. And you want to put, I usually say for about 4 people, a good cup of rice, which produces about 2 cups of cooked. And that'll be a good side dish. If you want to use this as an entree, obviously you want to double that. And what I'm doing now is coating the rice with the butter. It has to be completely coated. All right, so how do you know when it gets to that point? Your nose will know. When you start smelling that nuttiness, that's the time that you say, okay, it's time to put the stock in and we can finish cooking our risotto. Our stock is in our pan back here. It's a chicken stock. And you also want it to be warm. Why? Well, think about cooking rice or cooking period. If you were to use a cold stock or a room temperature stock, it brings the temperature of the rice all the way back down to the basic. So you'd have to start all over again to get it hot. If it's hot like this, it's continued cooking. This will make your risotto cook faster, cook evenly. So if you're having issues like, why is my risotto like falling apart? It's because of that. It's a temperature difference. So watch what you do, 1 ladle at a time, and hot stock. I don't know if any of you guys ever cooked rice-a-roni growing up. Why does she mention rice-a-roni? Well, there's a reason for that. If you've ever cooked it, you know what you're looking for in the rice. It's the same thing. You want it to be golden, just a little tiny bit. Doesn't have to be brown, just a little golden, like that. And that is when you add your first ladle of stock. So this is what it should sound like. That means you're on the right track. Why does this take so long to make? You have to add 1 ladle at a time. When it's all incorporated into the rice and it's sucked up all those beautiful stock juices, that's when you put your second scoop in, and you're constantly stirring. I happen to be, from old school, so my grandmothers always told me, you always move the spoon in the same direction. So always go clockwise. It'll make it better and more consistent, and you won't ruin the energy of the food. There we go. Looks pretty easy, huh? Anybody can do this. The trick is to stick to the pot and make sure you're stirring constantly. You don't only have to use arborio rice. There are different types of rice that you can use in the area. Arborio rice comes from the Piedmont area of Italy, and it's a mountainous region. And up in the north, where my dad's from, or where my dad was from, that's what we ate. We ate more rice and polenta than we really did pasta. So rice is a staple for us, and we used it every day. Other types of rice that are similar to arborio rice are carnaroli and violone. And they're very, very similar. They're short, round, fat rices, and they make a creamy texture. Got to go back here. That already, look at that. Do you see how easy that just like sucked up all that goodness? Let's add a few more. There you go. And we'll stir. And then you want to put it on between simmer and medium, somewhere between low and medium. As long as it's bubbling and cooking, we're okay. And the last thing that I want to talk to you about is stock that you put into your risotto. You can make something from scratch. Every Sunday, that's what I do. You can see my stock pot on the range already. So on Sunday, when I'm preparing all my chickens or all my meats for the week, whatever I'm doing, my vegetables, I put it all in there and I make my stock. And I cook that for a few hours, and then I strain it, and that's how I make my sauces during the week. That's a really important factor, because you don't want to be using anything that's really packed with salt, like a bouillon cube. That would not be good. You can use a canned chicken broth, and there are some really nice ones out there that are low sodium. I don't want to say go no salt, because it does season it a little bit, but you don't want regular salt or a lot of salt in it, because then that'll just make it even saltier, and the cheese has a little salt too, so you really want to watch how much cheese you put in, how much salt you put in there. Saffron. Saffron is one of those specialty herbs that if you ever find it and you find good stuff and you want to find the threads, buy it, especially if the price is good. You want to put a few threads. I mean, you don't have to put tons of it in there, because it really does go a long way. You just take a few threads out. You put it in hot water. And do you see the water's turning yellow already? I didn't even stir that. This is what the risotto is basically going to look like at the end. It's going to get that beautiful yellow color. Almost orangey. It's just really, really cool. But you need to put it in hot liquid in order to do that. We'll let that steep for a little bit, and then we're going to add it to our risotto. Now let's go back and check that risotto. Wow, look at that. This is going to be done in no time. To make risotto, you really, really have to comfortably give yourself about 30 to 45 minutes, because you don't know how much of that stock it's going to incorporate. And on some days, you might need more stock. It depends on the weather too. Rice is temperamental, and some days it requires more stock and some days it doesn't. But you can always add more, you can't take away. So remember that as well. Okay, this will probably be the last time that I'll put any stock in here, and now this is going to cook down. While it's doing that, we're going to put the cheese in there. And I know that this looks like a lot of cheese, but it's really not. It's ground really fine. It's so thin. I've used a microplaner for this, which makes it a lot better. You don't want to use really thick pieces that you don't want thick pieces of cheese in there because they wind up making just lumps, and that's not what you want. So let's put, I'm going to say about 2/3 of that cheese, and we'll save this to top it at the end. Oh, this is great. Now, some chefs put a little bit more butter at this stage of the game. I don't, because I put enough in the beginning, and I really don't want all that extra butter in there. And the last component, the saffron. You don't want the saffron to cook long. Oh, gosh. Oh, if you could only smell this right now. You don't want it to cook long, so it's just at the end you put it in, and in a few seconds that'll turn all yellow. I don't know about your family, but my family, since, oh my gosh, I was this big, we always gathered around the table and always planned our menus for the day after. And this is one of those dishes that was always at the top of the list. This and my mother's chicken cutlets. So this was one of my favorite meals, and she would always serve it with the risotto, chicken cutlets, and she always made either spinach or asparagus. Perfect, perfect meal. Oh, this smells so good. As you can see, the consistency now is very creamy. Very creamy. And that's what you want. I'm just going to take a little bit for myself. Do you see how yellow that is? Really pretty. I'm going to put a little bit more cheese in here because I am from Northern Italy. This is what we do. Cheese on everything. Delish. Buon appetito. Oh my gosh, if I weren't on TV right now, I'd sit down with the pot and just eat the whole pot. It is so good. I wish you could be here with me. I wish you could taste this through TV. The recipes for this will be up on our website at taste4travel.net if you want to go on there and check it out. But I'm going to enjoy this now, so I'm going to bid you adieu. Ciao.
Thanks for joining us and Cooking with Chef Jackie. To get this recipe and other fun foodie information, visit us at taste4travel.net. Connect with her on Facebook at Taste for Travel with Chef Jackie and on Twitter at Chef Jackie1. For now, ciao.